For 8 months, a backdoor was open on millions of websites. Nobody noticed. And the scariest part? It wasn't installed by a hacker breaking in. It was installed by someone who bought their way in legally. Here's what happened. 31 WordPress plugins were quietly acquired on a website called Flippa, a marketplace where developers buy and sell software. The buyer paid somewhere in the mid-six figures. Totally legitimate transaction. The original developers walked away with a check, and the new owner walked away with something far more valuable: trusted, already installed access to millions of live websites. Then they waited 8 months of silence. The plugins kept working, sites kept running. Nobody got suspicious because nothing looked suspicious. And then the switch flipped. The malicious code activated, reached out to a remote server, and pulled down additional payloads. In some cases, it rewrote core WordPress configuration files, the ones that hold your database credentials, your security keys, everything a site runs on. The command and control server that orchestrated all of this, its address was stored inside an Ethereum smart contract. That meant even after the attack was discovered, the attacker could instantly point to a new server just by updating the contract. There was no single address to block. This wasn't a phishing email. It wasn't a vulnerability in someone's code. It came through a normal, routine plugin update from a source WordPress users already trusted. That's what makes it a supply chain attack, and it's why it's so hard to defend against. WordPress stepped in and removed the plugins, but the damage was already done. Now, to understand why this keeps happening, you have to understand how WordPress plugins actually work, because the architecture is the problem. When you install a WordPress plugin, you're running a PHP script with full access to your server. No isolation, no boundaries. It can read your database, write to your files, and make network requests, all with the same permissions as WordPress itself. You're not installing an app. You're handing a stranger a master key and hoping they use it responsibly. And there are over 59,000 plugins in the official WordPress directory. Each one is a potential point of failure, not just through bad code, but through exactly what happened here: ownership changes. This isn't a new conversation. WordPress powers 43% of the entire web, and security researchers have argued for years that the plugin model is structurally unsafe. But the scale of WordPress makes it nearly impossible to overhaul from the inside. There are too many plugins, too many site owners, too much legacy infrastructure to simply patch the architecture, which is why what Cloudflare just released is genuinely interesting. It's called M-, and it doesn't try to fix WordPress. It rebuilds it from scratch. M- is MIT licensed, uses no original WordPress code, and is built on top of Astro, a modern JavaScript framework. But here's the part that matters. It's designed to be API compatible with WordPress. Same content structure, same publishing model, different everything else underneath. The critical difference is how it handles plugins. In WordPress, a plugin gets full run of the house the moment it's installed. In M-, every plugin runs inside its own sandboxed worker. It doesn't get access to your data by default. It has to declare exactly what it needs in a manifest, specific capabilities, specific data, and only gets what it asks for, nothing more. Think about what that means for an attack like this one. Even if a malicious plugin gets installed, it can't silently reach out to a remote server, rewrite your configuration files, or exfiltrate your database, because those capabilities were never granted to it in the first place. Will M- kill WordPress? Almost certainly not. Not anytime soon. WordPress has 20 years of ecosystem momentum behind it. Themes, plugins, hosting infrastructure, and a developer community that's enormous. You don't replace that with a new project, no matter how well architected. But here's the thing worth sitting with: the fact that a complete rebuild of a 20-year-old platform can go from idea to working prototype in months with a small team using modern tools says something about where we are right now with software development. The barriers to replacement are lower than they've ever been. That means the projects that survive the next decade won't just be the ones that have the most users today. They'll be the ones that take security seriously at the architectural level, not as an afterthought, not as a patch, but as the foundation. Something to think about the next time you click Install Plugin.